Welcome back to Wild Wine Life. We are so excited to have a tremendous friend of the show that has been kind, generous, and helped us along over the years, Miss Shemane Nugent. Welcome to Wild Wine Life, Miss Shemane.
Thanks so much for having me, Ray. It's good to be here.
It is wonderful. I'm going to kind of read your resume, and it is so extensive. I don't think people truly appreciate how extensive your background and credentials truly are. You were born on July 15th in Jackson County, Missouri, so it's always nice to meet someone.
No, not Missouri, Michigan.
Michigan. It said Jackson County. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, Michigan.
So the internet got that wrong. They put M-O.
Where did you get that? Where'd you get that bio? Hopefully not on my website.
I did all kinds of different research, and I found Jackson County. So I'm going to have to find it in
Michigan.
Send it to you so you can have it corrected.
Thank you.
She moved from Missouri to Michigan because you mentioned how your dad worked for General Motors as
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Michigan.
Oh, okay. So that's
and not even born and raised in well, it's a long story. Yes. I mean, go ahead. I'll continue, but that's not I was born in Michigan.
Okay. In 74, you were a state swim champ. In 78, you won the state girls freestyle relay in swimming in high school.
Wow. It has that there? That's great. That's true.
78, you also won the cheerleading team state. You've been named Detroit's most physical female. Your degrees in broadcasting from Wayne State. You have a master's in metaphysics. You have served on the Michigan Governor's Council for Physical Fitness, Health, and Sports. Your writing, directing credentials include Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations in 2005, along with Off Guard Killer House most recently. You're a fitness instructor. You've appeared on MTV, C-SPAN, Discovery, VH1, Fox News. You're the founder of Red, White, and Pray, focusing on uniting faith, patriotism, holistic wellness. You married Mr. Ted Nugent on January 21st of 89. Your son, Rocco, came into the world on July 22nd of 1990. You're both cancers, both emotional, intuitive, and nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
You co-host with Ted Spirit of the Wild, promoting outdoors, lifestyles, and conservation. Your podcast, people can hear every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, Faith, Health, and Freedom. And books that you've written include Abundantly Well, Kill It and Grill It, 4 Minutes to Happiness, Married to a Rock Star, and your latest book, Killer House. But apparently you told me Abundantly Well is your latest book. Did I forget anything?
No. There was something I don't remember. I should have taken notes, but there's one thing off, but not bad. That's really extensive. So my latest book is Abundantly Well, and it's a 40-day wellness devotional to help men and women. Once I wrote Killer House, it's kind of not a negative book, but you said you read it, and it's about toxic mold, how to recognize, remediate, recover from toxic mold. Not a sexy topic, not anything fun. And I thought, okay, that can't be the last book that I write. And it's not. I'm writing another one right now. But so I wrote Abundantly Well now that you've recognized, remediated, and recovered from toxic mold or any issue, like literally sadness, depression, environmental illnesses, different diseases that we all have. Let's put that into how to be abundantly well. And I wrote it so that you can digest it in about between 5 and 15 minutes a day. And it's to help inspire people to live healthy. And it's not designed, even though I've been teaching group fitness classes for 45, who's counting? 45 years. It's not a book where you have to have any knowledge at all for fitness. On the other hand, if you do have a lot of knowledge on fitness and exercise, you've been working out all your life and you've reached a plateau, I can help you break through that plateau. But basically, with Abundantly Well, my latest book, I want to be your cheerleader. I won state in cheerleading, but I love to cheerlead and I love to help people. And I don't ever want anybody else to go through what Ted and I went through. And you know, Ray, our story of losing our home that was once on MTV Cribs, and our health to toxic mold. And, once you lose your health and you're lucky enough to get it back, it's like there's no stopping you. And that's what I want to do, is just continue to do God's work.
Your positive attitude reminded me a lot of what my friends in New Orleans said after Katrina, that, hey, Max, I just lost a house and stuff, but we have our lives, and that's what really mattered. We can always get everything else. And I was like, boy, you guys are so much stronger than I think I could ever be. I always say, I always pray, please don't test me like Job, because I don't know if I'm strong enough.
I know. I get that too. And I'm, people have told me I must be a strong woman for some of the things, the issues that I've dealt with in my life. And I write about them, personal topics, in my books. And it's not easy being married to a rock star. There are a lot of great things, we get to go to the White House and meet celebrities and politicians and everything, but it's also challenging. As I imagine, many marriages are challenging. And I have often said the same thing, Ray, like, I don't think I'm that strong, but people have told me that I am, because I've gone through some of those difficult situations, trials and tribulations. But I do believe that those are the things that turn our mess into a message. And it's times when we're struggling, times when we lose everything. We lost everything. We demolished our home. We got rid of the clothes on our backs, and we completely started over. It's not easy. It's not easy to do that. And we had a young son. I had to get him into school and try to pretend like things were normal, and they were anything but. So I think those things, those difficult situations, really do make you stronger. And, God is preparing you for great things.
You discuss in the book about a correlation between mold and autism, along with other issues for children. Have there been any new studies going on, especially with the new administration, about mold and autism?
RFK Jr., and thank God he is in there with President Trump. I do believe that's one of the main reasons why President Trump got elected, because you could talk about politics and being a conservative all day long, but if you're not talking about health, we can't be healthy enough to go to the polls and vote. We can't be healthy enough to go to rallies. We can't be healthy enough to support our neighbors and our families and friends and help them during difficult times. RFK has recently stated that he wants to get to the bottom of autism. And one of the issues that he mentioned was that mold was a consideration, as well as obviously environmental issues. People could overlook that and say, well, mold, it's something that affects everybody, but it affects everybody differently. We all have different genetics. We all have different stressors. And one of the things I wrote about in Killer House is because I believe I went through a particularly trying time in my life right before I got exposed to toxic mold. That kind of laid the groundwork, or rolled out the red carpet for me to get sicker than maybe somebody else might have. So yes, I do believe, and I list in my book in Killer House and also in Abundantly Well, here are some of the diseases that you may have from toxic mold exposure: migraines, upper respiratory issues, fibromyalgia, lupus, sleep, insomnia, brain fog, restless leg syndrome, chronic fatigue, and even the C word, and even ADD. It's also been linked, yes, to autism. I have a friend who, unfortunately, she was 8 months pregnant, lost her baby, and she gave birth to the baby, but it had passed away the day before and they didn't know why. So they wanted to do an autopsy, found out that the baby had 4 different types of mold in its bloodstream. How is that possible? And then the other thing is that this couple had a toddler. In fact, Rocco and I are going to be keynote speakers at their charity event December 6th. It's open to the public at the Four Seasons in Austin. It's called Malachi's Message. And they wanted to pay it forward. And they have a charity called Malachi. They were going to name their son Malachi, who unfortunately passed away. They had a toddler at the time who was having autistic symptoms. They moved out of the house. The toddler was not speaking, was nonverbal. They moved out. It was fine. So unfortunately with toxic mold, it's one of those things where, can you say for sure that toxic mold caused her baby to die or caused somebody to get lupus or caused me to get migraines when I had stress and other things going on in my life? I'm sure. I personally am sure about it. But it's one of those things, it's that you have to become your own investigative sleuth. You have to do the research for yourself. And like I said, everybody is differently. Everybody's affected differently. There's also a gene, the MTHR gene. If you have that, you're going to get sicker than somebody. You could have 2 people living in the same house, spending the same amount of time exposed to toxic mold in their home. One person gets sicker than the other. So there are lots of things. I could go on and on about toxic mold, but I'm sure you want to talk about other things.
No. I mean, this is your book, and I found it fascinating. And how can people enjoy the outdoors, a healthy lifestyle, if they're living in a very unhealthy lifestyle? And I found the book very fascinating. Now, this is an observational hypothesis, but do you think that years ago, we didn't necessarily have as much of this issue. Do you think because people didn't have the air conditioning, so they didn't have the windows closed year round, they had to use open windows and air circulation, which you kind of talk about in the book, that maybe people should try and hold off on the heater and the air conditioner a little bit more to kind of allow fresh air? I mean, you can always eat honey to offset the pollen allergies, but
well, I don't know that I say, like, especially during the winter, you got to have heat, especially in Texas in the summer.
Fall.
But here's what I was getting at with that. You are right. We are closing in our homes too much. The modern construction is requiring us to do that. There are state laws that require builders to build a certain way. But here's the ultimate issue. You can let wind blow through your house all day long, all year round, if you're in a mild climate, all the time. If you have a water leak, if you have a porous substance and lack of ventilation, and you don't address that water leak, you will have mold. So the ventilation thing, yes, that could contribute, can make it better or worse, but you've got to address the water leak problem.
Oh. Now, as somebody who lives here in the Midwest, you have your furnaces in the winter, very dry air.
Oh, so dry.
Sinuses kind of dry up.
So dry.
What's the give and take on warm mist humidifiers to kind of keep the sinuses wet so you don't get sick? Because your sinuses are involved with kind of pushing out the germs. I mean, as long as you're kind of turning them off in the morning or not letting the house become a swamp or the room become a swamp.
Right. We don't want swampy rooms. No, I totally agree with that, because you're breathing in these toxins, and one mold spore is 1/100th the size of human hair, and its natural defense mechanism is to propagate 1,000,000 times. You don't see it, but you're breathing all of this in. So you're right to think that we need to clean out our sinus cavities. A lot of people get sinus infections. Having a humidifier is great, especially in dry climates, a dehumidifier where it's too humid. But one trick that I do, I should do it in the morning too. That's a good point. But every night I do a nasal wash. Not again, not a sexy topic, but I think that we got to get those toxins out of our. And when I do that, I can breathe at night.
Now, how did it feel having one of the girls that was known as Lazy Bones to go from being called Lazy Bones to playing soccer after getting away from the mold?
Um, who are you referring to? Because it's not
Well,
me, right?
you said that one of your daughters, when she was up, when you were living in the house with the mold up in Michigan in the book, was
Oh,
referred
oh,
to as Lazy Bones. But when you
mm.
moved down to Texas, she became very active, started playing soccer, just kind of. How
Yeah,
did that
it's,
feel
you
to
know
see
what?
that kind of a change?
It buoys my heart to know that. I mean, can you imagine, Ray? We made the decision to tear down our house that was on MTV Cribs. A lot of people were like, "Are you sure? You don't have to do that." And again, this is 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I was a mold pioneer, so a lot of people second guessed our decision, and thank goodness Ted was on board with me. But when I get when I see people like that, and people come up to me and tell me that something that I said or did or something I shared or my book or whatever changed their life and helped them, it's why I do this. It's why when I wrote Married to a Rock Star, in the last paragraph, if I recall correctly, that was I think 20 some years old, 25 years old. If writing this book, and you know that writing a book takes, I'm writing a novel right now and I've been working on it for a year. It's a lot of work. But if writing any of the books that I've written can help one person, then it's all worthwhile. So it buoys my spirit to know that especially a young person can have their health back, can have a vitality back, can feel better so they can live their lives. That's what it's all about.
We will be right back with the most wonderful Shemane Nugent and more wild wine life. We will see you soon.